Welcome to this transmission today. So today we are going to talk about Uranus in Taurus, Uranus in Gemini. It's a very important movement. It happens nearly every 7 years, and it's about to happen now. So that's why we're going to talk about it. So what is Uranus about? When we think about Uranus as a planet, or of course it's a planet, we can say it's a planet on the solar system, but when we talk about it on a more internal level and how on this archetypal vision, on this more psychological vision, Uranus talks about a revolution. It's representative as a part that comes to set us free. It's also said to be the representation of the higher mind, so of the cosmic mind, so to say. So usually representing in our lives and in our charts, it shows us where we can find freedom, where is our path to freedom, where we came to be free in our lives, through which avenue are we finding our freedom in our lives. So what happens is that it kind of gives us situations that are like limit, like you cannot stand this anymore, like you feel like you can't breathe, you can't move, it's too much, so that you learn from it and then you learn to set yourself free. So saying no, setting boundaries, finding different ways, whatever, that will be up to each person and of course the energy it has. So Uranus represents this freedom, represents this kind of revolution that happens internally inside of all of us, but that also happens as a collective. So it also represents a technological way, in a way, like technology. And sometimes I would say like the most developed technology is our inner technology. So, but I don't want to go into that anymore now. But yes, so Uranus moves in cycles, 7-year cycles. And every time it spends these 7 years on this specific planet, it changes the energy. So it changes the way we perceive that energy. So when Uranus was last time in Aquarius, technology started booming with the internet, for instance. Then when Uranus moved into Pisces, it was a crisis in different places, also crisis on religion. So when Uranus moved into Aries, conflicts, wars, the way we deal with our resources, with our individuality. Now when Uranus was in Taurus for the 7 years, so since May 2018, the revolution was in our resources and how we connect to Earth. Why? Because Taurus represents Earth in its aspect of worth, Earth in its aspect of abundance, Earth and its own resources. So the revolution during these 7 years was in these resources, how these resources are managed, and so a lot of technology entered the way of these resources. So think of the resources as everything the Earth gives us, even the climate, and how much it was even more modified and technologized, I don't know if this word exists, during these 7 years. So Earth is not the same in 2018 or now. Everything changed, everything shifted. Also in resources we talk about money, we talk about coins. So digital coins appeared. So this was also a revolution that happened. And of course on an individual level, more how we connect with our worth. So in one area of your life where Taurus is, this was where the revolution was happening, and a lot changed during these 7 years. So you probably do not relate in the same way that you related before. Now you probably see your worth very differently. If you are aware of this, of course, because you can also reject it and it's okay, it's up to you. But if you learn from the feedback of life, probably now you see your worth in a very different way. If you have planets in Taurus, this was like a full revolution for you during these 7 years. So if it's a Sun, a revolution of awareness. If it's a Venus, a revolution in how you relate. If it's a Mars, a revolution in how you move. Yeah, and we could continue, but I'm not gonna stay here for so long because this is not the point of this message. So, but there was definitely a revolution in these resources, in how we perceive worth. Also, for instance, with plants, like in one side these new ways of planting, of dealing with plants, spreading of permaculture, all of these new systems happened. So also bringing technology into agriculture like next level. And of course as well with plants, like plant medicines. So during this 7-year cycle, like plant medicines spreaded fast. So before 2018 you would not listen about cacao ceremonies everywhere, or even ayahuasca ceremonies everywhere, or even microdosing of magic mushrooms becoming such a thing. So this was a gift from Uranus in Taurus. So definitely something revolutionized here. On an individual level, as well, as I said, you can check your chart where Taurus is, and that's where the revolution happened for you. So for the first time after being, let's say after 70 something years, because yeah, I would have to use my math now, but I'm not going to do it. Millennials. So, I'm not even sure if I'm a millennial, but it's okay. I was born in the 90s, by the way. So let's say that Uranus is now in Gemini. Last time it was in Gemini was during the Second World War. I remember this. And it entered already last year. So last year, in the 7th of July, if I'm not mistaken, Uranus entered Taurus for the first time after 70 something years of going around the cycle, the circle. So again, already communication spreading crazy, because now we have to look into the meaning of what Gemini is. So Gemini ruling the mind, Gemini ruling the rational mind. Gemini is ruled by Mercury, which is the lower mind. Uranus is the higher mind, so different levels. Information is Gemini, so information spreading just like this. The boom of AIs, all of this is Gemini. And Uranus in Gemini is about this. It's about spreading communication and information in levels we have never seen before, like the devices becoming ultra intelligent and connected to our own minds. Of course, this can go into many different layers, into chips, into human merging with technology, human merging with the machine, definitely, if allowed. But yeah, I would say also on a personal note, it's about how we express ourselves, it's about how we put ourselves out there, it's about what we allow into our realities, and it's also about our relationship with our mind. So definitely during this period of 7 years we can unlock new levels and new ways of connecting with our mind. So when we say that, or we were saying that the human brain was only used until a small percentage, I don't know if it was even 10% or less maybe, or 20%, yeah, I think it was less. Now it can go like boom. So now it can go to completely different levels. So also becoming a superhuman is possible during this transit of Uranus in Gemini. So everything is as you take it. You know, everything is how you perceive it. So there are different ways to look into all these things. And if you choose to look to this perspective of evolution and using the resources, not allowing these resources to use you, this can be a great way for you to spread your message, for you to develop the connection with your mind, for you to use your mind in sharper ways, like much more efficient. Also using technology in your favor, using this information that you receive in your favor, spreading information wide. On the shadow side, manipulation of information can become a thing even more than it already is. The control of the weather even more than already is, because Gemini is also air. So think about the wind, like crazy windstorms generated through technology, because Uranus is technological. On other levels, yes, machines taking the commands, humans merging with machines, becoming extra rational, extra cold, detached, because that's also traits of Gemini in its shadow side. So everything can be as you want it to be. If you want some suggestions from my way to perceive life, okay, I always say this is how I see life, this is how I go through life, and to me makes sense that we become more human, in the sense that we are connected with our hearts, that we are embodying love. So to do this, there is always this sentence of Alan Watts that I really like, and that I feel like it can go very well with this moment, which says that the mind is a great servant but a terrible master. So using these new ways of connecting with our minds, with our inner technologies, and also with technology to support us in our growth, but allowing the heart to be in the command. So the connection with the heart is more important than ever, and the connection with the heart means the connection with everything that exists, with earth itself, because heart keep on nurturing that connection. And it's even more important to work with the breath, and also to purify the channels, because we don't know what's gonna happen, but it's gonna move something in the winds. It's Gemini, okay? So yes, it can go through technology, information being spread, but also manipulation can come through the air, much more. So having ways to clean yourself, to detox, to purify, also working with your breath, because anxiety levels can go much higher because of the excess of information. So also having ways to ground yourself, having ways to deal with anxiety, tools. For me, it always makes sense to connect with ancient wisdom. So yoga, meditation, the pranayama itself, yeah, for me it makes total sense, because these techniques are from millennia, so they are really, really valuable, and they are here to support us. So yes, this starts tomorrow. It already started last year, but then it went into retrograde, so it went back to Taurus to close the last ties. Now it's really closing, and from tomorrow on this energy starts moving. So you can make the most of it, but to make the most of it, be grounded in your being, be connected with your heart, and always in your center. So this is it for today. You can book your yoga classes with me, or book your astrology sessions with me. I am here to support you on your journey. And that's it. See you.